In this lesson, I'm going to talk about network interface class. You can use network interface class to get information about the network interfaces installed on your machine. In today's computer, multiple network cards are installed on a single machine. Sometimes we might need to get information like how many network cards are installed and details of each network card. For example, you might want to find out if an interface is down before starting a server application. Now, what is a network interface? A network interface is the point of interconnection between a computer and a private or public network. A network interface is generally a network interface card. A network interface card is a circuit board or card that is installed in a computer so that it can be connected to a network. However, a network interface does not have to have a physical form. Instead, the network interface can be implemented in software. For example, the loopback interface. The network interface class methods are static and therefore you cannot just create a new instance of this class with a new operator. The network interface class provides methods to enumerate all the local addresses, regardless of interface, and to create INET address objects from them. These INET address objects can then be used to create sockets, server sockets, and so forth. You can ask for a network interface by IP address, by name, or by enumeration using following static methods: get by INET address, get by name, get network interfaces. The first two methods are used when you already know the IP address or the name of the particular interface. The third method, get network interfaces, returns the complete list of interfaces on the machine. Now let me show you how to use the get by INET address method. I've already created a class with the static void main method. Now I'm going to create an INET address object by using get by name factory method. And I'm going to use the IP address of the physical interface, in my case 192.168.0.100. Once we have an INET address object, we can find out what is the network interface associated with the specified IP address. I'm going to do network interface equals network interface dot get by INET address and pass the INET address object. The get by INET address method returns a network interface object representing the network interface bound to the specified IP address. If no network interface is bound to that IP address on the local host, it returns null. I'm going to test if the network interface is not null. If is not null, else print interface not found. Inside the if body, I'm gonna print the network interface details. To find out what is the network interface name, I'm gonna use getName method. Also, we can get the display name using getDisplayName. Get the hardware address. GetHardwareAddress method returns the hardware address, usually MAC address of the interface if it has one. Because getHardwareAddress method returns a byte array, I'm using convertByte2String method to print the MAC address in the hexadecimal format. The method uses the string format method to convert a group of 2 bytes into a string formatted as hexadecimal. The result is appended to a string builder. Also, we append a colon after each group of 2 bytes. At the end, return the string builder string representation. GetMTU returns the maximum transmission unit. GetIndex returns the index of this network interface. GetParent returns the parent network interface of this interface if it is a subinterface, or null if it is a physical interface or has no parent. Is loopback returns whether a network interface is a loopback interface. IsUp returns whether a network interface is up and running. IsVirtual returns whenever this interface is a virtual interface, also called sub-interface. Here should be support multicast. This method returns whether a network interface supports multicasting or not. Get interface addresses. Get a list of all or a subset of the interface addresses of this network interface. I've used a for loop to iterate through the list. Get address method returns an inet address object, and we call get hostname method to get the IP address. Okay, now let's run the code. And we can see the nickname, the nick display name, and all other information. Also, you can see that this interface has two IP addresses, an IPv4 address and an IPv6 address. Now, let's ask for a network interface using getByName method. I'm gonna do get by name, and I'm gonna use the interface name. Comment this line. It is easier to use this method on a Linux system than on a computer that runs Windows, because on a Linux system you can easily find the interface name in the ipconfig command output. Let's run the code now. And we get the same output as we are using the same interface. To get all interfaces, I'm gonna use get network interfaces. The method returns an enumeration. I'm gonna do equals get network interfaces. If you are not familiar with the enumeration, there are sort of vectors or iterators. You can even compare to arrays, although they have additional methods. I'm gonna use a while loop. Has more elements. Get a network interface. Equals network interfaces dot next element. And then I'm gonna use this object to get the network interfaces parameters. The while loop ends here. It's a good idea to add some print line statements to separate the output for each network interface. Now let's run the file. A list with all network interfaces has been displayed in the console, and we get information from each network interface.